Hello everybody, I am delighted for you to join me today. I have an exclusive interview with a wrestling superstar, a hero of Blackpool, a coach of the year, and a swimwear model. Not four different people, one man, Rossy Rascal.
If you want to look good in front of thousands, you have to outwork thousands in front of nobody.
Really well put together, really likeable young man, full of energy, full of enthusiasm, straight out of the PCW Academy, and I think he's going to the top.
You are the fastest rising star in PCW.
Hottest rising superstars here in PCW.
A Blackpool hero in Rossy Rascal.
Students at the Kind Judo Club in Blackpool are going to be so proud of this young man.
Because if you truly want something bad enough, you'll always find a way. If not, you'll just find an excuse.
So, welcome everybody. I am delighted to be joined by Rossy Rascal. Ross, thank you for agreeing to talk to me today.
Thank you for your time, as always, Graham.
It's always a pleasure to sit down and talk to you because you are a man who is incredibly driven. You've always got so many different projects that you're working on and you just commit 100% to all of them and you always achieve everything you set out to do. So, thinking back, we sat down 4 years ago. No, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
February or March 2020. So there's loads of that's happened since then.
Yeah,
But
a lot's
wow,
gone on
a
in the
long
world
time.
since March 2020. We'll cover that in a sec. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking around. This is This is a different location to where we were last time.
Yep.
This is amazing. Tell me more about this place.
This is something, isn't it? This has become such a great place to be, a fun atmosphere. Oh, I can't even put it into words, I really can't. It's such a fun place. We've got such a community feel here. But basically, this was, trying to get the facts right, exactly this time last year. So a full-on year that we rebranded. We found a new location, a new building where we could get people from Lytham, which is the town outside of Blackpool, and Blackpool, you know, kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And we're just having fun with it. Like I said, we've got some cool banners. It looks badass as well, which I'm really happy. We've got the blue and yellow colours, which are my two favourite colours. But this building now, it's not just a beautiful looking building, it's such a great community feel, a great team spirit all the way around. So we're delighted to be here, to be honest.
And so this time it's a judo academy, it's a sports club, and it's also a Rascals professional wrestling academy.
Yeah.
That's a lot to have going on. And
Exactly. So when it comes to buildings and stuff, I just want them to be used. I want them to be used in a unique, well, variety of ways, very, very unique ways. And no one can do children's professional wrestling like we can. But again, that was something that came out of the blue. But for the judo, we needed a better home, we needed a better atmosphere, we needed to be surrounded by better people. And we've achieved that in this building. And then everything's just been a catalyst for success, just because we've been surrounding ourselves with good, positive people.
fantastic. So the last time we sat down and did an interview like this, February or March 2020, I can't remember the exact date, but that was in the run-up to you having a main event match in the Blackpool Tower Circus against Big T, the 7-foot giant. Tell me your thoughts about that period.
It's really strange, like, looking back on that, to be honest, because we know what's happened since. And at the time, it was like, oh, can I do this? You know, there was doubts, there was fears, there was worries. Because at the time, I lost to him twice. And it was, I earned my spot to main event Blackpool Tower, as you said. Proper dream come true. But against all the adversity and all the perseverance in the world. And obviously, we came on and we defeated him. With the audience, obviously, backing me, we defeated him. And I became the first person in PCW history to pin the 7-foot-tall, 155-kilogram giant in a grueling matchup. I put my heart and soul into that, but what a feel-good moment that was to end. You know, that was the end of my rookie year as well. That was my 11th month in, the main event of Blackpool Tower, and the first man to do such a feat. So that was a very significant moment.
And if I remember correctly, you did a judo throw off the top rope.
I did, yes. I did. So I've tried judo throws on him before, and again, he's 7 foot tall. He was always finding his way to the ropes. Obviously, he's been around, you know, this game for a while. He's a crafty individual. You know, he's not just a big powerhouse. He is a very smart man. So I judo threw him 3 times in that match. Judo threw him once. I thought, I can't rely on that. Like the same mistakes as last time. Judo threw him again, and I thought, oh wow. And then he somehow got straight back up, but then God knows why Big T was climbing to the top rope, but I'm glad he did. I chased him up there, took a deep breath, and I judo through him. Glad the ring didn't break. I was confident it was going to. Massive thud. And then I was shocked that there was a 3 count, to be honest. I was in pure shock.
And I just remember the crowd going wild it felt like an hour. Kids screaming. The normal Rascal army in their blue and yellow t-shirts running riot and diving into the ring. And
it was special because it wasn't just a match. It was a build-up of the town. You know, all the adversity that we've gone through. You know, together through what we've done and what I've done in the local community. We just overcame a lot of adversity, and I'm just dead proud and happy they were still supporting me when I lost the previous match. Yeah, they were still willing to get behind me and say, you know what, we can do this together. So that was about an 8-month build. I don't know how long it was, but it felt like a good 8 months. There was a long build to that, and then for that moment just to pay off, it was magic.
Yeah, it
really
was. And if I remember correctly, that was a week before the worldwide, well, at least the lockdown in this country, which meant there was no wrestling, there was no mixing of households and things like that. As someone who is a trainer and was always dealing with people and wrestling in front of large groups of people, how did you get through the lockdown period where you weren't allowed to do any of those things you love?
Quite easily, very selfishly, quite easily, because I'm very confident I can adapt. I'm very confident about the whole perseverance thing, but When it first came, I think it was around April time. I don't know the exact months, but it was around April.
End of March is when it...
Normally I take about a 2-week break then anyway. So I think they announced it was a 4-week lockdown. Well, that's what we thought. So I just thought, that's no big deal. You know, I was going to have 2 weeks off anyway, just to recover mentally, physically, emotionally, after the whole Big T story. And then I thought, right, I'll just rest. Then when the 4 weeks happened, I think they announced another 4 weeks. And I thought, okay, what can I do in this 4 weeks that I don't normally do? So I just did new stuff. So I actually created an app, which I'm not good with technology. I searched for different things. What can I do in this time? And then as time progressed, I realized how I've never reflected in my life. I've always been 100 miles per hour. So I had time to think, I had time to reflect, I had time to count my blessings. I had time to realize what a position I'm in to give back. And it was very powerful, to be honest. I never realized it so much until that moment. How many people were struggling, how many people were reaching out. But the reason I didn't struggle, I always say this, I've got 2 arms, 2 legs, good vision, clean water, and I know where my next meal is, so I have nothing to be upset about. But I understand that people can't just tap into a mindset like that. So I used that time from then just to really reach out and help as many people as I could in many different ways, whether it was I can help them mentally or physically by, you know, doing some sort of like Zoom fitness stuff. I really tried my best just to innovate and just to adapt to the new world that we didn't know was going to be permanent or not, because it wasn't 4 weeks, then it was extended to Christmas, then it was extended to this. So it was just adapting, but I am blessed that I got through it no problem, just because of my ability to adapt, and I'm glad that I used it as a tool just to help as many people as I could. So it actually made us stronger and brought us all together.
Yeah. So the year afterwards, once events were allowed to be put on and we were allowed to mix households and everyone had a vaccine, well, most people had a vaccine, and the infection rates were a lot lower. PCW then held another one of their white-collar wrestling events.
Yeah.
And I remember I was the host for that particular show. They're always fantastic shows, but one of the people wrestling was one of your judo students.
Yeah.
So tell me about Lucy's participation in that event.
Where do we start with that? Like, I think last time we interviewed, you mentioned something like, oh, how would you feel if one of your students stepped up and took part? And I'd say I'd be very proud if a student can come up and take my spot or kick my butt. And Lucy is a very, very special individual. Very, very special. Like, again, driven, determination, willing to give anything a go. She's so inspiring to everybody, and she's very, very big on things like women empowerment as well, so she can use her platforms to reach out to many as well. But the day of the white collar, I didn't know for a fact, but I had suspicions that we were going to be a team. I had suspicions, and then when it was finally confirmed, it was okay. It was actually going to be me and Lucy versus Death Row, and I was like, wow, okay, this is going to be a hard shift.
Ouch.
A hard shift, because in my mind I thought I've got to make sure Lucy's safe, and I've got to obviously kick Death Row's butt, and they are malicious, vicious, and they had a point to prove as well. However, they said, oh no, Death Row, you're not wrestling Death Row. Okay, cool, that's fine, no problem. So Lucy was understandably nervous, as I was on my white collar. Wrestling is very all over the place, of course, with shows and stuff like that. But we fast forward to the bit where we're about to make our entrances, and I said to her, I'll go out first, and then when you come out, I'll be there for you, ready.
Yeah.
Nope, her music hit first. And we both looked at each other like, oh no. So I said, take a deep breath and go out there and, you know, give it some. And she did, and she made me so proud of that. And then finally, yes, my music hit, I came out, I gave her a hug, and I just said, right, let's have some fun. And Cason Riley was the opponent.
Yes.
Cason Riley was fresh back then. Again, he had a point to prove. He was very hungry, young. He still is, and he's doing some great things. And I was like, right, we've got Cason Riley. And then the next music hit, and it was Big T, 7 foot tall. And I was like, I can't escape this guy. So not only have I got my, again, that whole adversity story with Big T, and I got Lucy to look out. And God bless, I underestimated that girl, because we went through war in that, and the whole story was I'm just trying to protect her, and I'm getting battered and beaten. But the second she got up and started fighting, she threw Big T with the biggest judo throw I've ever seen, and became the second person in PCW history to defeat Big T.
Yeah.
So if that isn't an inspirational story, I don't know what is, but I learnt a lot from that. I learnt never to underestimate her again. I felt like I needed to protect her, and it was the other way around. She needed to protect me from Big T. But she made me so proud, and she's used that again to inspire young girls in wrestling or young girls just in sport. She's really doing well, so super, super proud of her.
So around this time, you'd spent most of your wrestling career working for PCW, but it was around about this time that you started then going to other promotions and doing a bit of work there. This is around the time you started working at Pinfall in Manchester, and they ended up having a tournament to crown a new champion. Tell me about that experience.
It was fun. With Pinfall, I went there to just train. I wanted experience. I wanted to branch out, and obviously you got a network in wrestling, and it's just a combination of everything, but there's some really good people there. Again, Jack Johnson, Axel, who has become one of my best
He's everywhere, isn't he?
He's everywhere right now, and he became...
Is he here?
He's
You never know.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's probably got cameras on me or everything, that guy. He always knows what I'm up to.
Yeah.
He's like he's my guardian angel right now. He's always telling me to calm down.
He's like the devil on your shoulder, isn't he?
I wouldn't even say
Or
devil.
He's an angel.
He's a sweetheart, like... He probably won't like me saying this, but he is a sweetheart, and he's the one that's telling me to take a day off. He's saying, Ross, I'm concerned, you're going too hard, you're going too fast. I'm like, Axel, I'm fine. I'm used to this. This is a lifestyle, but he's a sweetheart. It wasn't when I first met him, because we had our own little rivalry, but we became good friends. But the Pinfall lot backstage were very, very welcoming, very supportive, and they were the ones that suggested bringing me in, because they were looking for a good person or a good guy to fit the mold for this tournament. So credit to them for bringing me in or allowing me to have that opportunity.
And that was a tournament where you made it through to the final.
I did.
You won the final. You then became the Pinfall reigning champion.
Absolutely.
So, and I can see the belt on display.
Yes, so it's behind the camera at the minute, but the belt's proudly on display, and so again, now I can use that belt as like a tool to inspire children. So children will walk in and see a gold belt, and it's like why we have the pictures of our judo fighters on the wall. I want kids to walk in and say, I want to be on the wall, or I want a belt, because it's there all the time.
Yeah.
Or the medals or the trophies. Again, the prize for me is winning it, or what you go through to win it. So now it doesn't really mean that much to me in terms of the physical thing, but the prize is me winning it, hence why I give my medals away. Because the prize was the adversity winning it. The prize was the growth that you get from winning it. So that's why I like displaying these things or giving things away. But like I said, the tournament was good fun. It was hard as hell because my opponent changed about 3 times in the opening contest, and I got a hard-hitting opponent. And then, like I said, we did it again. The crowd was so appreciative, and we've used that as a good platform.
And hopefully you can defend that belt in the near future.
I've defended it. We did a fatal 4-way, and Axel was your man that was in that, and I had the pleasure of judo throwing him through the floor many a times in that match. But yeah, like I said, I don't know where that company stands right now. So again, I'll just use that belt as just an inspirational tool at our academy for now.
Okay, so this is flowing quite nicely. I've got a series of things I wanted to cover. We've mentioned him already, but Axel Strife. He is. I don't know how to explain.
I don't know how to describe that man. I don't know. Like I said, he's a sweetheart. That's the thing. He's got a heart of gold.
And he's so enthusiastic, isn't he, about whatever he does?
He is.
But when you first encountered him, when he first came into PCW, he wound people up, didn't he? So he would come out and tended to wind up the audience, get a lot of boos. He wasn't a fan of you. I remember one occasion where I'm presenting you. This is another topic for later on. I'm presenting you with the Mr. Swimwear award, and Axel interrupted. Can you tell me your thoughts about that period where you weren't getting on so well with him?
I feel like Axel, I don't know where it stemmed from. We need to have a sit down and talk about this, me and Axel, because we're like best buds now. Like, we video call all the time, but at that time, I don't know if he was just trying to make a statement, going for this, guy that is doing well. I'm not a guy that's been handed anything. I'm a guy that's worked my backside off, and you know that, and you respect that, but from people just seeing me now, they think, this guy gets everything given to him. He looks half in shape. No, I've worked so hard for this, and it's just things paying off. So I think he saw that either as an opportunity to get his name up there, which has worked, because, it has worked, or just a genuine vendetta at the time where he was like, I don't like this guy for what he is. He tried to expose things that weren't true. He tried to say that I do it for vanity and for greed and stuff, which is not true. I do this, again, as a platform to help children. I really do. But that was our disagreement. We were butting heads, so we interrupted the sash thing. But it made for a more funny moment. You know, I enjoy fighting. He gave me one hell of a punch that night, you know, to start the match, and it was good fun. But yeah, it's strange how we've gone from like rivals to really close friends. It's really, really cool that. But
I suppose that's often how it is in wrestling, is it? People meet, they don't understand each other, they end up fighting in the ring, and eventually that mutual respect comes out, and then they become best mates, become inseparable. So
we've wrestled in serious matches. In fact,
and some not so serious ones.
Yeah, I think we've wrestled for like Speedos on a pole, but I don't think he's ever beaten me.
Well,
I think we've wrestled a good 8, 9, 10 times.
Hang on, I've got a fact here. Axel Strife has never beaten anybody.
Oh wow, okay.
He's never pinned anybody in any match. The only time he's won a match is when his tag team partner has got the pin.
Really?
So it's an embarrassing fact, and I'm hoping one day he will win or pin somebody. But yeah, unfortunately,
he will.
Just for the record, he has never won a match against any. I've pinned him. This
has gone from an interview to an Axel roast.
Unfortunately,
and I love it.
Even I've pinned Axel Strife.
Oh wow. Well, God bless him. He's a hard worker, but for a guy that's never pinned anybody, he's made a hell of an impact. He's a world champion right now.
He certainly is, yeah.
RVD and Stone Cold are on his Instagram.
Best mates,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Social media best mates.
Step aside, Rascal. This guy's got his contacts now.
So I mentioned one of the accolades that you had achieved during this period, the title of Mr. Swimwear.
Oh, Graham.
How?
I don't know.
What made you decide to become a swimwear model?
A lot of things in my life has happened by accident. So let's rewind. Judo happened by accident. I wanted to be a wrestler and I was told to go do judo because I was too young to learn to wrestle at the time. So everything judo is an accident. Everything swimwear, everything modelling is an accident. I had a few people once in a while would say, oh, you should take up modelling. And it's just based on the fact that, yes, you kind of look half decent, and it was like, no.
From this angle, I can see those chiseled cheekbones.
No, mate.
Even I'm
enjoying my pizza at the minute. No,
I'm a happily married man, but even I'm slightly more cheekbones.
No, hopefully the camera compliments it, but no, not at all. So I was like, no, because there's a skill involved, and I respect that. And modelling is not just a case of being, say, like looking like Brad Pitt and just taking photos. It's not. There's a skill involved, and this was heading into lockdown now, and I don't remember. But I got in contact with the British Isles, which are very prestige for like modelling comps and things of that nature. I don't even remember, I just remember them messaging me back saying they're interested. Can you do this, this and this? And it was very different because it was lockdown times. It wasn't, weren't allowed to meet them, you had to do it differently. And then we did it, and then it just happened, and then it became Mr. Blackpool, and I thought, that's pretty cool. That's really, and then they were like, would you like a place, well, if you win your town area, you get a place in the national final. I thought, yeah, I'll do it, because I'm well out of my comfort zone. I've been a fighter all my life. I've just retired from judo in terms of fighting and competing, and I don't have that competitive fire anymore unless it's professional wrestling. So I thought, I need to do something where I'm competing, but I don't enjoy the fighting anymore. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I'm going to be a pure underdog in this. I need to pursue this. And I genuinely took it seriously, where I was studying, I was practicing. It was embarrassing as hell at the time, because I'm more comfortable and with it now. I really am. But at the time, I was very embarrassed because it didn't feel like me. I felt like I was just doing something different. I'm just used to, like I said, fighting. Now I have to, and I was learning the angles, and I was trying to learn and get better with it over time. And then we entered the national final, Mr. Swimwear, and I came second in the country. So I'm the second prettiest man in the country.
When wearing swimwear.
Exactly, wearing swimwear. And I went all out for that. I wore pink swimwear, and I thought, I'm going to really try and give this my all. And I learned as I went along, like I was really taking it seriously as a competitor would. It was fun, but I was there to compete. I was there to win. And it's strange, like if I had got, say, 5th place, I would have been very happy. Like, that's very high. The fact I came second kind of ate me alive a little bit. Because I'm proud that I've jumped out my comfort zone and placed so high, but because I came so close, I was like, nah, I need that. That competitive fire just burned. So it was a very strange, surreal moment the next day. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't sad. Life just went on. So I never had a chance to celebrate that, and I never had a chance to be sad about that. It was just, cool. You get some cool sashes with it. You get, so I won a modelling contract with that. You win some cool stuff. But like I said, I think my ego just took over, and I just wasn't satisfied with second. Second is silver. I'm a judo guy, and we just don't settle for that. But what an experience. You're walking on a catwalk half naked. But experience-wise, I've walked in a wrestling ring half naked, getting booed.
Yeah.
These guys were cheering me and clapping and being lovely, and we had cool music. So it was a hell of an experience, and I actually genuinely enjoyed it. And the opportunities that came from that, we pursued it. And I guess I am a swimwear model.
Well, you're Mr. Swimwear now. Yeah. I know at the time I just started cheekily announcing you at shows as Mr. Swimwear.
And I hated it.
You hated it, but the crowd loved it.
They did.
And the crowd were even chanting the word swimwear during your entrance music, which that is a sign that people love, what you've done and they love you.
Recognised. That was the first sign where I've started to think people are recognising what I'm doing outside of wrestling. Because I didn't really bring it into wrestling. It was them saying, so I hated it at first because it wasn't me. Like I said, it was so out of my comfort zone. But I respected why you were doing it. I respected why it was mentioned. It was more, well, it's working, let's run with it, but I'm still embarrassed. But now I'm so comfortable with it, it's fine.
But as well as being Mr. Swimwear, you also been celebrated for your coaching achievements. Tell me about your coaching and how it felt to be sort of awarded the title of Coach of the Year in Lancashire.
Validation. Everything I've been through as a coach, because when I first started coaching, I was 19, 20 years old, so I was never taken seriously. I had what I believe were great visions and great perspectives, and different perspectives, different ways how we do things, the enthusiasm, the energy to run around with the kids, but still have enough knowledge or, experience from my fighting days. So the awards were flattering, but they were validating that I can now be taken a little bit more seriously as a young coach. Because, even though I'm obviously a little bit older than I was then, I'm still one of the youngest coaches around this town. In fact, I think I am when it comes to martial arts, by far as well. So you don't really get much young, enthusiastic, so there's a lot of hate there, there's a lot of, this guy. But it validated and I loved it. So we got, I think, rewind all the way back to 2018. That's when I was first nominated for a coach award, and I came second.
Oh.
But that same year, our club got Community Sports Club of the Year. So that's phenomenal, because that was more of a shared thing. But the Coach of the Year that year, again, you know how my mind works, I'm not happy with second. However, the chap that got first place definitely deserved that, as in he was a phenomenal coach. He was what actually inspired me to do the sports camps.
Right.
So he was deserving. But second place weren't going to cut it for me. I can't live with that. So the very next year, I became Coach of the Year for the Fylde area. And then the very, very same month, I became Lancashire Coach of the Year. So everything's like, wow, everything's getting recognised. And then we fast forward to 2022, I became Blackpool Coach of the Year. So I became the first person in history to be Blackpool, Fylde and Lancashire Coach of the Year. The first person to be nominated for all three, never mind win all three.
Right.
And then last year I became Lancashire Coach of the Year for the second time running. And I'm very proud because I genuinely didn't expect it, because I was thinking, they're going to see that I've won this before and just not give me it on principle. But they've obviously seen the things I do, they've seen the things, what we do together, and I'm the first person in history to win the Lancashire Coach of the Year twice. So now, again, I don't want to use that for vanity and greed and, hey, look at me. I'm using that as a platform to benefit the kids here. I'm using it as a platform to benefit our community. Because now I think just having that accolade or that title will get me greater ins and greater networks. So that's the way I want to use these trophies. The trophies mean nothing to me. It's the, what can we do with this to help people?
And so, do you want to just tell me about the sort of things that you offer here for the youngsters?
Yeah, so when it comes to judo, obviously we've got the judo. I don't say, this is very strange, we do judo, kids professional wrestling, sports camps, you name it, but I don't actually coach judo. I coach children to be good people.
Right.
It just so happens that the activity we're doing on that day is judo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very, very different how I coach and my approach. If they learn judo, that's a bonus to me. I'm trying to teach them principles and different things, but I'm not preaching it to them where they have to do this. It's more understanding that you have options, you can do this, you can do that. But do you know what I mean? So that's pretty much where I am with this place, is I feel like I offer a safe and motivating environment, a very, very good environment where we don't crush kids' spirits if they want to dream big. I've had crazy dreams and they've all come to fruition, you know, because I've been around good people. So these kids that tell me, you know, they want to be a black belt in judo, I believe them. They want to be an astronaut, I'll believe it. But I'll tell them it's very unlikely. You have to work hard, but it's not impossible. It's only impossible until it's done.
Yeah.
So that's what I believe we offer here. We offer opportunities and we offer that support in anything that they want to do. So forget the judo, forget the wrestling, forget the sports. We offer absolutely anything that that child or adult needs.
And the one thing that does come across when I've been here, obviously I was delighted when you asked me to open this place back in August, which was a huge honour for me. And then when I announced for the kids wrestling event that we put on, the one thing that does come across is the community around it. So the parents are actively involved. It's not just a case that the parents turn up and dump the kids and run away. The parents are all actively involved, and there is a real sense of community around, so you should be really proud of of what you've got here.
I appreciate that, and that's why it was an honour to have you to open it. I couldn't think of anyone else. Who do we get to open the kids wrestling academy? But one thing that's misunderstood, and this is where I've noticed one thing, and I said this to the kids the other day, that the more successful we have become, the more people don't appreciate it. But that's okay, because we always say winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. And we always know that if people try and bring you down, it's only because we're above them. Mm-hmm. But we want to help people up. But one thing that gets misunderstood time and time again is the whole Rascal thing. It's not, again, like a brand just for my own ego. It's, yes, my name is Rossy Rascal, but it's kind of named after the community that we got. So Rascal isn't me. Rascal is our community. And that's what it is. The Rascal is the kids. The Rascal is the town of Blackpool. The Rascal is our wrestling judo community. So nothing's centered around me. It just so happens that I'm the guy kind of leading it. Mm-hmm. But Rascal is all of us, it's not me. We share all our accomplishments, we share all our achievements. We have kids here that do well in football. We don't do football here, but we still acknowledge it and we celebrate it. Yeah. Do you know, we work together as a team throughout.
Fantastic. So we mentioned earlier some of the rivalries that you've had in your wrestling career. I want to talk a bit about Philip Michael, who is someone who he also entered wrestling at a very young age. He was focused on the technical side of things. He's a very quiet and sort of unassuming person, whereas you're very outgoing. And when you enter the room, everyone knows that you're here. Not in a crazy way, but
not in an actual way.
But you guys have had so many wrestling matches over the years in the PCW Academy. But last year, something crazy happened last year where you guys were going to war on the main PCW shows. In last man standing matches, in hardcore matches, no hold barred matches. I've forgotten all the different I quit matches.
They were brutal matches.
Talk to me about that period and your relationship with Philip, and obviously then how that where we are now, where there was a Titan involved, and
it's very, again, strange, because like since from last year to now, since I'm winning the title and since just reflecting, I feel like I'm changed again. I've evolved and I've grown and I've matured a bit more, even since the Philip feud, which was 2 months ago. But Philip, he was, I wouldn't say a mentor, because obviously we're kind of similar ages in that respect, but he always looked out for me. He always gave me feedback. He always said, well done, Rascal, but try this next time in your match. So I always had a good relationship with Philip. Since day one, he was one of my first ever matches ever. I think he was actually my first ever academy match, if I remember correctly. So I remember the day where I was kind of in a funk with wrestling. This was last year, build up to Road to Glory, because I didn't want to just wrestle, I wanted to tell stories. And Philip wanted competition. He wanted the best competition. So we kind of just sat down and said, what if I wrestle you, you wrestle me? Philip gets a serious competitor that isn't pure wrestling, that has a very, very unique background. And I can get, I can learn whilst I'm wrestling Philip, and it'll be respectful, and it'll be fun. So we pitched it to management, and he didn't really like it at the time. They didn't agree with it for whatever reason. But silly that they didn't, because obviously of the money that it generated, the hype that it generated eventually. But we knew that Rascal versus Philip would be good. But we thought, okay, no big deal. Rascal, we've got other plans for you tonight. And then I think Philip went on to wrestle Axel. And that was the night where everything just went, oh, okay, Philip, this is mad. So I don't know if he was upset that he didn't get to wrestle me, or he didn't get his own way, or he just needed to make a statement because management weren't listening to him. But something crazy. Were you there that night where he cracked Axel with a chair?
Yes, I was, yeah.
Horrific. Absolutely horrific. And there was no need for that. Because Axel, again, was our friend. But he made a statement, and that's when Philip just snapped and changed, and you see the demeanour and his attitude backstage and everything, you name it. And I tried to speak to him, but I just couldn't get through to him, and he just wasn't having it. But in terms of career progression, it elevated him. But in terms of me and him, and there was just fire. And I can't even remember when we got pitched together to wrestle, and I thought we can still be respectful despite what he's done. And he'd gone on to snap my arm, which is fine because it's a fight. You know what I mean? Yeah, God, I was angry about it, but it's a fight at the end of the day. You can snap my arm all he wants, but the way he was boasting and bragging about it, I took down the judo guy couldn't beat me, I did this, I did that. And then it became to the point where it just kept escalating. He wanted to be a champion, but I was the thorn in his side. I want to be a champion, but he's in my way. So we hated each other, but there was also this end goal that was like, so we're on this collision course, but this is my path, this is his path. So we just kind of lost sight of trying to become friends and just focus on this championship, but with different morals and different perspectives. But we went through hell, man. Like, we really did. It's like PTSD. We went through hell. You were there.
I was there at ringside for all of this. And I remember the... was it the no holds barred match? Was that the last one you had?
That was the very last one. That was the last out of the saga of three.
Yeah.
So we wrestled, then we did the three horrible matches, which obviously were great in terms of how the crowd received them, but in terms of your body, your mind, your emotions, it took its toll, that did. It really did.
And obviously with Phil's different attitude, he attracted the attention of Mr. Tom McManus, who is now advising him, whispering in his ear and guiding him, probably not in the light that we would want Philip to be guided in, but he did guide Philip to win the PCW World Cruiserweight title, beating Vaughn Vertigo in an incredible match. I mean, Vaughn had been champion for he'd been a champion for about 6 months, travelling across North America, defending it multiple times, came back, defended it against you.
He did.
And unfortunately you didn't win, but the next time he defended it, he lost to Philip. Philip then had a few different defences of that title, and then we came to the December show in Blackpool Flamingos, Rossy Rascal versus Philip Michael for the PCW World Cruiserweight Championship. Tell me about that experience.
And that won't be the last time we encounter, I'll tell you that. I wish it was, but it won't be. But because we've not sat down and spoke for years, there's so many moving parts, there's so many little... When I won that pinfall title, Tom McManus was the one that presented me with the title.
Right.
When I walked backstage after beating Philip in the no holds barred match, Tom McManus shook my hand and said, "Well done, lad." Then went to speak to Phil. So this is where the relationship between me and Tom kind of just, phased, because he was always good as gold to me. He always gave me advice, did Tom, and he was always nice. He brought me into pinfall. Yeah. And then that's where it was like, well, what's going on here? Philip doesn't have to go down this route, but it's kind of strange because Philip wanted the belt and he ended up getting it. So did he have to do that route? And he did what I couldn't do. He beat Vaughn. Yeah. I could not do that. For whatever reason, I don't have any excuse, but he did what I couldn't do. And I thought that was it for me, but I thought, no, I need to make a statement here. We need to do this one more time, Philip. We need to put it all on the line and just say, look, no weapons, no stipulations, no nothing. Man to man, we need to just wrestle for this belt. This is what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. All our egos, all our fighting. We were on a collision course, but it's for the belt. And it was a hell of a feeling because in my head, after everything that I've done in wrestling, I'm confident that I've achieved everything I've ever wanted, which were high goals, main event Blackpool Tower, beat Big T, just making it at PCW Rossy in the short time that we did. So I've achieved every single goal in my career apart from becoming world champion. So I was like, I need to really focus in on this. I really need to, you know, do something. And again, you know what Blackpool crowd's like. We have the support, we have what we need. It was spot on, and it was one of the most magical moments of my career and my life. But again, one hell of a war. I think we went about 25 minutes to 30 minutes in that match, so it was a hell of an intense match.
And I know the crowd went wild at the end. Everyone, all the Rascal Army invaded the ring.
Yes, they did.
And I remember that your intro music played about 3 times.
Did it?
I think it certainly played 2 times.
I didn't hear it at all.
And I'm in the ring, and I had the microphone. I thought, right, yeah, we need to
go home.
The venue wanted us out because it was a Saturday night, and I thought, right, I need to.
To hell with the venue. We're having fun. We're having this moment.
Yeah, so I had to get in the ring and thank everybody for coming. But yeah, that was a magical moment.
It was special. And similar to the Big T one, you know, where I said it was overcoming the adversity. I lost to Vaughan.
Yeah.
So now the kids are like, oh, can he even become champion? There was elements of doubt in our own academy. I was thinking, I'm doubtful of myself, but the kids are lifting my spirits. And I don't have it anymore, thank God, but my screensaver on my phone from the day I debuted was the PCW World title. Now it isn't, because I've got it, so thank God for that, because it's the same, looking at that subliminally every day. And then there was a moment, I've never experienced this in my life, ever or since, where I even see it, the moment on video where my mind just empties. Because all that's been on my mind is, I need to be world champion, I want to be world champion. And then from there was just a moment of clarity, and it's so weird, I can't describe it, just everything just went clear. And I'm just like, now I'm living in the moment. I've never had the opportunity to just take in the moment, because I'm always thinking about the next day or the next thing. Like, where am I going after this? Well, I'll probably be coaching the next day or this. So that was the only time in my life where I was like, I don't care anymore. This is the moment. And I genuinely embraced it, and I'll probably never get that moment back, but it was special. But unselfishly, I didn't really care about me then. I put the belt on the kids and I said, this is your moment actually, guys. You know, enjoy this. I just happen to be the guy here, but this is your moment. So it was special for them, special for me. So
now, as the reigning PCW World Cruiserweight Champion, what does the future hold? We've got the Road to Glory tournament coming up in March, back at Flamingos in Blackpool, with a whole host of international stars. We've got Franco Varga, Sugar Dunkerton, Shah Samuels, many more, still a few to be announced. But you're entering the tournament to then have a shot against the World Heavyweight Champion, whoever that is at the time when you cash in that opportunity. So tell me about entering the tournament and your
why not, Graham?
Thoughts around that?
Why not? I'm always thinking, how can we top the next thing? So I've broken world records in judo, and people say, oh, what's the next record? I don't care. You know, we've won Coach of the Year. I don't care about winning that. I don't care about winning swimwear anymore. I've become PCW World Cruiserweight Champion. Where can I go from there? I could be the best champion that company's ever seen. I can defend that whenever I want. But let's do more. Let's enter this road to glory. And it's in my hometown, Graham. It's become a Rascal paradise. It's become Rascal Army. You know, it's my hometown, and no one from anywhere is coming across onto my soil and taking what I've earned away from me. And that's what lights a fire. That's what, you know, gives me that drive every morning to train harder or get up earlier. No one is taking that away from me. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you've done. I don't care how much experience you've got. And I thought, you know what? Let's just take it all now. We've got something special here with the whole kids and stuff like that. Let's give them something to really celebrate. Let's win that other title. You know, my title was very prestige. My title was one of the most prestige belts in the country. But having 2 of them is pretty damn special. And I'll tell you now, I'm taking it. It's my hometown, it's my tournament. I'm taking that world title by the end of the year.
Well, you've heard it first. Ross has got high ambitions for 2023. I'm all out of questions. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, that just fired me up big time. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to enter this tournament. But that's exactly it. But you know, who else is in that tournament? You know, Philip Michael. We're on opposite ends of the bracket. So I know he's hungry. He's desperate. He can get 2 for 1 there. He can get a title shot and he can get his redemption against me.
Yeah.
But there's so many what ifs and there's so many different scenarios now. There's so many different people I can face. But like I said, I'm telling you now, you know, I'm coming here to fight. I'm coming here to do damage. I'm not coming here to just be the entertainer, you know, such. I'm coming here with an absolute army. I'm coming here with a town I'm coming here with a community and we're taking over the whole shit.
And I suppose whenever you consider Philip Michael, you've got to factor in Tom McManus, and you've got to factor in Death Row as well, because they come as a unit. Yeah. So you're going to have to find some backup. If the Rascal Army can't get involved in the match, I'm sure you've got a few people backstage that can help out if things get messy.
I'm confident that I've learnt a lot about this game. So when I was a rookie, I was always in there, and I relied a lot on my body mechanics and my fight background. Now I get how wrestling works. I get that I've got eyes in the back of my head. I get how people talk and how people want to earn their spot. But as I said, I'm at the top and I'm a target now. I was the hunter, now I'm the hunted.
Yeah.
But I thrive off that. That's what, again, I don't think anybody deserves to take that away from me. I really don't. So that's what's giving me this drive. That's what's giving me energy. And that's what's firing me up right now. I don't believe anybody deserves to take that away from me, because I know the work that I've done and I know what I've put into this, and obviously it's come back out. But as you said, winning a belt is one thing, but keeping hold of it is different. Then winning a second one and keeping hold of that, I can go up and down from heavyweight to cruiserweight. I've done that in my judo, won, I think, 5 championships in 5 different weight classes. I can be a cruiserweight and a heavyweight at the same time, no problem. Might even find a tag team partner and win that. Might even learn how to do commentary and take away that belt from...
Okay, just don't learn about ring announcing. I'm happy doing that.
We'll see. But I think, let's just take all the belts. And the reason I want to take all the belts, again, isn't for me. It's because I know it inspires the kids. And that's what drives me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, Graham. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it always. Thank you so much for coming.